Ok, a nuestra increíble Valentina le dio sueño hacer la introducción, aparte se cortó la luz en su casa en ese momento de esta parte, por lo que no se guardó y se terminó borrando, así que no la culpen, gracias. Ya ahora sí podemos empezar con Hamilton.
Hey, you guys mind if I put in my mixtape?
We are meant to be a colony that runs independently.
Hamilton is a musical play concept on Broadway. Tells the story of Alexander Hamilton, a young man who throughout his life lived quite strong things, including to see working with the control of slaves, and with many other things. Throughout his life, he wrote different texts and poems based on the same. Used his own strong moments to capture them on paper. This drew attention to many people, so they ended up sending in the North of America. So with that way, he could have a good education and a better life. This work attempts to introduce us the life of the founding fathers of the United States. That is why many famous people of the time appear in it, including Aaron Burr, who in this play is considered an antagonist who does not exactly do the evil, but rather competes against Alexander. With the passage of the whole work also introduces both friends and people close to the protagonist, including his future wife, Eliza Schuyler. She has two sisters, Angelica and Peggy, but that's for another point. There are more historical characters like George Washington or Thomas Jefferson. In short, show us the journey of his life, which is connected to this great cast of characters, showing us ups and downs, and also showing us the great representation and diversity of United States of America. But was the story really like that?
Coming up from the bottom, his enemies destroyed his rep. America forgot him. We fought with him. Me, I died for him. Me, I trusted him.
Me, I loved him.
And me, I'm the damn fool that shot him.
There's a million things I haven't done, but just you wait.
What's your name, man?
Alexander Hamilton.
Really a disaster. It has many points where they are pretty bad. It's ignoring the real problems that were at that time, such as classism, racism, and misogyny. We can start with George Washington. They show us this man as a father figure and angelical figure to Alexander, a person who was too interested in making people's life very good. In addition to that, in the play we are presented as if George Washington was trying to abolish slavery, which is to a big lie. There are records in the history that George Washington was one of the richest men in the United States, and it is known that millionaire people were the ones who had more control over the slaves. He had a great interest in maintaining his full workforce. He also avoided paying taxes to the Crown of England. This man was always more interested in money. Besides that, he treated his slaves as less than human beings. He was incompetent and he thought that the lives of his soldiers were worth nothing as long as they won battles. And that's just a point. For example, Alexander Hamilton himself also owned slaves and was the one who carried the finances for his father-in-law's books on buying and selling slaves. But in my opinion, the worst of all of these characters is Thomas Jefferson. Literally, the first scene when he's arriving from such a trip happened in the real life. On that trip, he actually arrived with a woman named Sally. We are talking about a 14-year-old girl, and in that same trip, he abused her and ended up making her pregnant. Technically, this man is a pedophile abuser. But in Hamilton, they portray him as this charismatic and sarcastic character who is always against Alexander, but nevertheless he seeks the good things for the American people. That's another farce. Hamilton is a great celebration of the romantic age of the American dream, but at the same time throwing the work ignoring only these issues. If not also begins of the revolution, where women were considered as objects the black people didn't consider as human beings, and capital dictates that it could be done and that not. It ignores the real problems of the United States as a country. They take advantage of the fact that they used Afro-American actors to play important wealthy people, when these characters in real life were black slave owners. They used Afro-American actors as an excuse to ignore the fact that slavery was present in a bloody and macabre way. But we don't have to infer either. Hamilton is a very good fantasy. It has an incredible cast. People who give life to the characters have a lot of talent. They sing excellent. They know how to transmit the emotions that want to give to the spectator. It's good to consume audiovisual, but we also have to be critical of them. Hamilton is an entertainment work that allows you to dream and allows you to think that the dreams can be fulfilled. However, don't forget that you're ignoring millions of lives and names that were lost in the memory of the history. People from USA are very proud of their nationality. For this same reason, they are not very troubled with the fact that their past and their founders were not the most moral people in the world. I invite you to research and be aware of the history. As I gave you the examples of the problems in Hamilton, you can also find historical data poorly represented in other individuals. I invite you to inform yourself and enjoy what you watch, but at the same time you can be critical of the entertainment you consume. Thank you.
Is following us to revolution. There is no
Angelic power, in poison, and faith.
Weapon in my hand, a command of my men with me. Then I remember my Eliza's expecting me. Not only